Hello guys, this is Abby from Witchcraft and Criminal History. How you doing today? Good, I hope. Alright, in the past 3 videos we were talking about the conditions of London during 1888 and the suspects. And we're going to continue with the suspects in this video. Okay. With one of the victims, with Polly Nichols. With Polly Nichols, when she was murdered, she was victim number 2. Police, they believe that there was no way this murderer was able to get away without being seen. Mainly because you had police on patrol. They would have this one policeman walking around the block all the time. That was his entire shift, just walking around the block constantly. Doing his rounds. And it would have been impossible to murder him because by the time, if you're killing someone, it would take time for them to... You would have to make sure that you time it very well because you can get caught by a bobby. Not a good idea. And the person who discovered Polly Nichols said that he was drawn to Polly Nichols because he saw another man. And this other man called him and asked for help because he thought the lady was drunk. This person was called Charles Allen Cross. And they took him there and they tried to wake her up, but she wouldn't wake up. And so the other guy was asking him, oh, we should better, set her up, maybe she'll come up. And he stood back and said, oh, I'm not touching her, I'm not touching her. Which was very, very unusual. You did all these things to try and wake her up, but yet you wouldn't touch her. And this other guy said, I'm going to go and get the police. Charles Allen Cross was supposed to stay there, but he didn't. And he also went with him. They found another policeman on another route, another block. And Charles Allen Cross actually was one who was actually speaking, not this other guy, and said, "There's a dead girl on Bucks Row." And the other policeman told me to get back up. There's a policeman there. Which wasn't true. It was a lie. And of course this police officer ran all the way to Bucks Row. I had to find another police officer there. And so they didn't really think about it. Like, oh, he obviously was telling the truth. Because there's a policeman there. But the thing was, the policeman didn't send him there. And when it came to the inquest, Charles Allen Cross actually tried very, very hard not to say that he was at that crime scene. But the interesting thing was that with Polly Nichols, her neck was severed. And it was in such a fashion that if they sat her up, which the other guy was trying to do, they would soon know that she was pretty much decapitated. Her head would have fallen off. And of course you don't want that to happen, especially if you killed them. You don't want that to happen. And there was about 2 minutes, between these guys meeting each other. That would have given him plenty of time to cover his tracks and to pull the clothes on. Because her clothes, she was neatly dressed when she was found. There was no sign of blood and you couldn't really see back in those days because they had old oil lamps and also you had coal fires going right through London, so you also had the smog. So visibility was very, very good. Wasn't very good whatsoever. So you wouldn't have seen blood. So he had plenty of time to pull down the shirt. And the way the old shoes were, he would have heard this other guy from a mile off, and he would have learnt, his presence way before this guy could even see him. So he had time to cover the body. And they discovered that with his history, it came from dysfunctional childhood, which is very common in serial killers. And on all of his routes, there was a murder on every single route from his home to his work. Even with the double event with Liz Stride and Catherine Eddowes, don't quote me on that, his mother was in another part of Whitechapel, and he was estranged, and his daughter was actually living there as well, his eldest daughter, so there was some family feud. So, and they did their route from where his mum lived all the way to his work, and he went right past some of the murders. I think with the double event. That he was actually, going to work. So yeah, you got that bit, which is really, really interesting. And also you got another suspect, even though this was a theory. This was a theory that Jack the Ripper is actually Jill the Ripper. That Jack is actually a girl. You might say, it can't be a girl. Girls don't do that. Heck, watch one of my other videos of Elizabeth Bathory. Women can be very brutal. Heck, you got Elizabeth Bathory, and she did terrible things to the human body. Then you got Dr. Hazard in the US, I think it was in the 1910s or 20s. I don't think it was the 1930s or onwards. I know it was early in the 20th century. Dr. Hazard, she starved her victims to death. She watched them literally starve to death. So, yes, women can be very brutal. So, yes. And you might say, well, wouldn't a woman stand out? Especially if she's got blood on them? No. Not in Whitechapel. Yes, women can't be butchers. But women can be midwives. And if you're a midwife, you'll be going around Whitechapel at all times of day and night, delivering babies. And of course, you're delivering a baby, you're holding the baby, you're dealing with the baby, make sure the baby's breathing and all that. The baby is covered in blood. It's always covered in blood. And if any woman here had babies, you know exactly what I'm talking about. She would have been covered in blood. So as I said, there could be a chance that she could be a midwife. And if she ever got pulled over, pulled over to the side by the police or something like that, asking her why she's covered in blood, all she has to do is saying, oh, I'm a midwife, I just delivered a baby on, let's say, Ann Street. I don't know whether there's an Ann Street there, but we just say that she was delivering a baby on Ann Street, which is plausible. Because back in the 1800s, there's a reason why they call it midwives, not mid-husbands. Because the simple fact is, back in those days, midwives can only be women. Women can only be midwives. No man can be, you can't be a mid-husband. Men did not deliver babies. Men generally were not allowed to even be in the same room with his wife having a baby. No. Men would actually be out. They would not be in the room watching their poor wife having a baby. No. And this actually went, right on, especially like, for example, the royal family. Even with Queen Elizabeth II. Like when she was born, her father, the king, wasn't in the room when she was born, because it was taboo. You don't do that, and that's the 1940s. So I think it was 1940s. I'm not ready to. I don't really know too much about the Queen of England. I might be English by the same, but doesn't matter. Know much about the Queen of England. But anyway, you know, men can't be there, so a woman could easily do it. So yeah, and as I said, you know, being a graphic murder, women could do it. Okay, this wraps it up for suspects, when we get more into the nitty-gritty of the case in part 5. Hopefully you enjoy these videos. If you enjoyed these videos, please like and subscribe. Have a great day, and blessed be.